Scoodly doodly doo, it's time for another Welch review. Scoodly doodly doo doo.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to an episode of the Welch Review. I know it has been a minute since we've done one of these. I apologize if we've had some exciting things going on in my personal life. I have a house, so moving has been kind of crazy, but very exciting nonetheless. I hope that 2002 ended very well for you guys, and that 2023 is the start of a lovely adventure, and you're enjoying it. And I hope you're staying cool, right? Because I know we're in the summertime when this video is being released. So we're going to start this revival back with Alien versus Predator. Now, this is a film that got me very, very, very excited when I was a teenager. In fact, I'm still excited talking about this because it was like, oh, Predator's rated R, Alien's rated R, like all their sequels are rated R. But this movie was rated PG-13, which means that there was a tangible idea that I could be taken to the movie theaters to see this. Ultimately, that didn't happen, and for very good reason. I know in this current, not currently, but a while back, we filmed a video talking about Predator, where Sam and I went over why it's a good film, worth looking, and shared some personal anecdotes. And one of those anecdotes was how I was petrified that a predator was invisible and was going to pop out and collect my skull as a trophy at any point in time. So much so that my stepfather checked the curtain in the bathroom, like from the shower, under my bed, the closet, the whole upstairs and downstairs to make sure we were predator free. So it kind of makes sense looking back on it why I didn't get to see this movie. But that's okay. I finally did get to see it, and that's all that matters. But one of the fondest memories I have of this film, aside from being excited and seeing the trailer and kind of geeking out over, little tidbits and trivia that you pick out from trailers and reading online, is when I used to go to Stop and Shop in Big Y. A memory that's ingrained in my head is seeing that copies of this DVD were just in the checkout aisle, right at the top. It was like DVDs, gum, candy, magazines. So every time we'd go to checkout, you'd see it up there, and it's like, oh, we should watch that. We should get that. And eventually, we rented it from either Blockbuster, Suncoast Video, or Hollywood Video. Those were the three big ones where we would get our movies from before streaming came and kind of took that all out. Those were good days. But anyway, let's talk about Alien versus Predator. So in this movie, you have Sanaa Lathan as Alexa Woods. She was in The Perfect Guy, Love and Basketball, and Something New. You have Raul Bova as Sebastian DeRosa. He was in Under the Tuscan Sun, Immature, Escort in Love. You have the man, the myth, the sci-fi legend, Lance Henriksen as Charles Bishop Wayland, a part of the infamous Weyland-Yutani Corporation. He was previously in James Cameron's film Aliens. James Cameron's wife and now Oscar winner, Catherine Bigelow's Near Dark, which is a fantastic vampire film. I'd encourage you guys to check that out. And Stone Cold, where he played like a Clay Morrow-esque biker gang leader against the disgraced football star, the Bosworth. I don't remember what his first name is, but he got laid out by Bo Jackson, which is awesome. Then you have Ewan Bremer as Graham Miller, who is in Wonder Woman, Trainspotting, and Trainspotting 2. You have Colin Salmon as Maxwell Stafford, who is in Resident Evil, Mortal Engines, and Punisher Warzone. And then you have Tommy Flanagan as Mark Verheiden, and you know Tommy from Sons of Anarchy, Braveheart, and Gladiator. You also have Sam Troughton as Thomas Parks. He was in the Netflix film The Ritual, Mank, and HBO's Chernobyl. And then you have Agatha de la Boulay, and I apologize if I've butchered any of these names, as Adele Rousseau, and she was in The Last Drop, Dying God, and Murders in Ambrosia. And then this was written and directed by at the time, like the king of video game adaptations, Paul W.S. Anderson. He had previously done Mortal Kombat and Resident Evil, as well as Event Horizon, and a couple of years ago, recently, he did Monster Hunter. He's also Mila Jokovich's husband, which is pretty cool. Now, this film came out in 2004, which means I was in the 4th grade when it came out. But this is not the first time that Alien and Predator have been pitted against each other. If you're interested in comics, or you're interested in Alien and Predator lore, Dark Horse Comics has been putting these two against each other since 1989, going all the way to 2020, and I'm sure in counting. Within that time frame, there have been 25 different stories that support and enlarge the lore of these two sci-fi titans. I myself am pretty curious in going back and looking at them. I've read Batman vs. Predator 1 through 3. I'm interested in reading, I think they have a Marvel one coming out where it's Wolverine versus Predator. But there's been like Superman and Batman versus Aliens, Superman versus Aliens. Like there's a whole bunch of things if you really want to go down the rabbit hole. It's really quite interesting. But anyway, sorry, moving onto this film. So first and foremost, let's just start about like the summary. The idea follows something that is pretty talked about to this day. The idea that aliens, one, do exist, and that aliens have helped support our culture in building us up as a civilization. Right now, there are UFO court cases going on YouTube. I saw it this morning, so you guys can certainly go back and check that out. It seemed pretty interesting to me. It possibly confirms a long-standing rumor with conspiracy theory. But anyway, so it's just like it's cool that all these films are kind of somehow tied to that kind of thing. But anyhow, so following that idea that aliens help build civilization, the Predators came down, helped build up human civilization. The only thing is like what they would do is they would require tributes, right? Human tributes who would be vessels for the ultimate beast, which is the alien. And to kind of get their hunters to be part of, like patched over, if we're talking like Sons of Anarchy terms, to be part of the gang official, they would go on this hunt where they would have to kill aliens, right? And if the aliens won, the Predators, they'd have to eviscerate, that area. But if the Predators won, then they were celebrated, right? Because like, hey, you bested the scariest thing that, you're probably going to ever come into contact with. Now, of course, it seems like years have gone by, right? Because that was all the way in the past. Flash forward. One of these ancient pyramids is discovered in Antarctica, right? So naturally, Wayland of Wayland and Yutani is like, hey, I'm putting together a team. And he starts gathering like, the top scientists and explorers in specific demographics of their fields. And this super team goes to Antarctica. They go into this, Aztec-esque looking snow pyramid at the bottom of Antarctica. And just as they're doing this, Predators are dispatching 3 of their hunters, to go and do this routine hunt that they do. So as the two paths cross, needless to say, someone activates a certain thing that gets the mother alien, who seems to have been in hibernation, awake, and she starts, popping eggs out. And then eventually, I'm sure you can see where this is going, people get infected. Aliens start coming into play. Ultimately, there's, Predators and aliens and people in the middle. In both cases, as the tagline suggests, whoever wins, we lose. So people are getting killed by both of these. And then eventually, it's realized like, if we want to survive, like if the Predator wants to survive and the humans want to survive, we need to team up to destroy the alien menace. Because if we don't, it's going to kill us. Or we're going to kill each other, and it'll win. And then it'll infect the whole world, and everything will be in shambles. right? So if they don't, then the aliens will win, and the world will be in shambles, and it'll be a scary wasteland where people are getting murdered and pop and chest bursters everywhere you can see. And I feel like that's hopefully not a spoiler esque like synopsis. I know it's been a significant amount of time since the film's come out, but I would encourage you to go back and revisit it. There are a lot of good characters, especially like Lance Henriksen as Charles Bishop Whalen. He is fantastic in this movie as a titan of industry who's at like the end of his life and wants to go down in a blaze of glory, right? He wants to be remembered for doing something. One last like hoorah to add to his belt of achievements. So that whole idea of like knowing like death is around the corner, but like you're not just gonna go out in a whimper. He really like embodies that, and just it's really cool just to see him do like being in big blockbusters still, like that the sci-fi community is embracing him and putting him as like these kind of big characters you've heard about in previous films but never quite had a face to it. Also, Sanaa Lathan does extremely well. I have not seen any of her other work previously or since watching this movie, but I thought she was really grounded, and she really made, like, when she spoke, you paid attention. And, she held her own against the Predator, like in action sequences. And I would like to, if they ever do a remake or continuation, I know Requiem, they did that. They didn't touch on too many of the, like, events of this film. And we'll talk about Requiem later. But it would be cool if they brought her back if they do a third one of these. And then like Raul Bova plays Sebastian De Rosa. One of the lines is like "La Luna de Cuchador," right, which is like the hunter's moon. And like that line, I can't tell you how many times Seb and I would repeat that to each other. So that was fun, but it was like convincing, right? And like just how he delivered it. It was like in The Wolf Man when the gypsy is telling Talbot, like when the moon is full, right? Like a sense of dread and mystery, some light foreshadowing, right? He did a really good job at like showcasing, like, hey, going on this trip, there's going to be some trouble that we're going to get into, some conflict that's not going to be easy to get out of, without like actually saying a lot. They definitely amped up the music a little bit when that scene came too. And then, like, as far as CGI and such goes, like, I know older 2000 movies, yeah, that'd be right, early films from the 2000s and the late 90s, right? If they weren't, like, huge tentpole blockbusters like Jurassic Park, they didn't always have the best CGI. I thought Alien vs. Predator CGI holds up, considering like how advanced we've gotten to today. If you look back at this, it's not like you're looking at crummy effects. It's not like you're like, oh, I can see here that like the light is reflecting off it and it just looks misplaced. It's none of that. I think it really holds up quite well. At first you might think like these movies are, maybe corny or cheesy, but like you watch Prey, like the newest one that's come out about like predators and this type of lore, and you go back and kind of watch some of these older stuff, and it's like, this stuff is it's really good, still holds up, it's entertaining, and it makes for a fun marathon. So I would encourage you to go back and revisit Alien versus Predator. And if you haven't seen it, I would encourage you to go back and start watching the Predator and Alien movies. You're just in for a good time. And if you're into comic books, definitely go and pick up an omnibus of these adventures and maybe predict what you think might be turned into a movie down the line, because they're always mining for ideas for features. But in any case, I can't speak highly enough about Alien vs. Predator. It was something I really wanted to see growing up, something that scared me, something that excited me. It's just a very good creature feature. I'm very excited to be back. Please tune in for more episodes, and more importantly, stay gold.